Hello, welcome to Now. I hope that you're doing so well wherever you are in this now moment. I'm Jane, and I'm the founder of the Eternal Now community. So I share that now. In case you want to join it, you can click on one of the links below and do that. I would love it. Um, I want to share my intention with this broadcast. Um, and my intention is to shine a light on the unseen with a desire for courageous action from the heart. That is my intention with this. So I come to you from the Appalachian Mountains, where I am so fortunate and I get to house sit for a friend. And I arrived, and 1 week later was the Hurricane Helene, and that was intense. I will say that I am super duper grateful and fortunate. I am super safe. I am not in a place that flooded. It flooded around me, like there were houses around me that got flooded, and land that flooded, but I am on high enough ground. And the creek is like down a 50-foot ravine. So I was looking down at it from a platform. I lost power and cell service and had no water because it's on a well. And trees fell, blocked the road, like all the things, and now I'm fine. So that isn't the point. Um, what I noticed was the energy behind the storm. And I want to share some things. And my invitation is to open your mind. Whatever beliefs that you may have about anything, my sincerest invitation is to just open your mind to a possibility without any attachments to, well, what if it is real, or what if it isn't real, or anything like that. Just what if these possibilities are in fact a possibility? And if so, how does that land as a feeling of truth in my body? Oftentimes, when we don't give our minds the expressed consent to just open and be a witness and receive data, then our subconscious mind will go ahead and start to create stories around information as it comes in. So we don't even have the space for the mind to let the body feel into the possibility of a truth. And I share that now because what I'm about to shine a light on, it's a big picture. And after this big picture perspective that I'm going to share, there's a call to action after that. So invitation is to open your mind and open your heart and just be present with this transmission and perspective. So I will say that there has been, historically speaking, a massive um, agenda to acquire land. And I can go into the spiritual ramifications of disconnection to our physical bodies, to the Divine Mother, to the earth herself, to the feminine form of God, and all of those things. And I'm not going to go there yet. That'll be a different one. Um, but there has been a really long-standing agenda to acquire land, to grab it, to take it, and to use it for monetary gain from so many people. I've been one of them. I had a house that I bought because I wanted a house, and a yard to have a garden and all of the things that I did, and I loved it so very much. And what it turned into was a really wise investment. So I was able to sell it and make a profit. I'm not rich by any stretch. And so the land allowed me to profit. People that lived there before me did the same thing. People that lived there before them did the same thing. And so the land, as we've seen, has been this renewable resource for monetary gain. Now, when we look at bigger entities who have a lot more money to play with, like the Monopoly game, they acquire more land and um, they don't necessarily grow gardens on it so that it's a continual renewing resource of abundance for humanity. Rather, oftentimes these entities will acquire the land and decimate it for the resources that aren't quite so renewable in the timeline of our human selves. For example, they will go in and annihilate a mountainside for copper, like in Utah, or they will go in and annihilate a mountain for coal. Look at the Virginias. They will annihilate the land through digging punch holes in it deep, 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 fracturing the structure of the crust herself in the name of getting oil. When we do this to the land, it changes the structural integrity of her. And not only that, but when we look at her, the earth, as a living, conscious being, because she is life in form that holds life, that births life, that like all the things. But when when we do these things to her without the respect of even acknowledging that she's a living being, we are taking from her without consent. Oh, and then we look at how traditionally women have been treated, where women's bodies, things have been taken without consent. Oh, look. So you see how like this is all, it's all a repeating thing. So that, like I said, I'm sharing a big perspective. So the acquiring of the land is so important when someone has a desire to just open her up and take out one part, copper, coal, lithium, cobalt. Like they'll take out this part of her and they'll manipulate that part and then they sell it for a whole lot of money. So then we, as the consumers, are spending our energy, which is renewable, as long as we know how to take care of ourselves and our resource, but we spend our energy working for like whoever to make the money to buy the thing that was taken from the earth that's not renewable. And then there's this entity that's like just making all the money because the entity that bought the land that's like taking the resource out is also the persons or the entities that we typically have worked for. So here we are working for them, okay, to then supply them with the money to take from the land, and then we buy the product that's an offshoot of what this entity is attached to. So all this being said, this land that I'm currently on right now is rich. It's rich in lithium. What's lithium used for? Oh, yeah, that's right. The batteries of electric cars. There's been a massive agenda to push this, like, you have to have an electric car. You have to. It's the best thing for the environment. When you look at geology, Jane, who has studied earth science for most of her life, along with many other things, electric isn't always the best. When? When we rely on things like lithium to make the batteries that have a short shelf life, that they don't know what to do with when they're dead, because the lithium itself, after they process it, becomes really toxic to life on Earth. humans, plants, animals, water, you name it. So they don't really know what to do with it. That's beside the point. So here we are with a whole population that has been programmed to believe that a lithium battery is the best way to go. I'm not saying it's the best way or the worst way. I'm just giving you context. You do you. Like this is free will. Like there's no judgment in anything I'm saying. I'm just pointing out some facts kind of things from a perspective of mine. So there's been this big push for people to really believe that lithium batteries are the only way, and in a way that they believe that, yes, I'm doing good for Pachamama. Well, the way that they get the lithium, they have to take it from the land. Well, here's the thing about the land that they got to take it from. Humans live there. Humans live there that have lived there for generations and generations. People live there, humans live there that are wisdom keepers, that are so connected to this land because the generational knowledge of the plant medicine, the spirit medicine, this old knowledge has been passed down literally through their ancestral lineage. So humans that live on this lithium rich land, maybe there's this big company, we'll say, that says, "Ooh, we want that land. Ooh, you want a lot of money for that land. We've got bajillions of dollars, but we really don't want to spend it and give it to you people, you poor mountain folk that know nothing, that don't really buy the electric cars because you use diesel, because you use farm equipment, because you use like even my vehicle's diesel." Like anyway, so these companies like, you all aren't going to buy these lithium battery electric cars. So why would we give you all the money for your land? This is what we'll do. We're going to get that land. We're going to grab that land. We're going to take that land, but we're going to do it in a way that's just a little bit more maniacal. Like, let's be honest. And so, we look at things like weather manipulation, for example, and there have been patents on it. You can look all this stuff up. I'm not going to quote sources because I get my source from the one, and yet there are also published resources for all of this. So the the weather manipulation um, can look like so many different things. Look, lightning just hit this thing, and the whole mountain is on fire. What? Look at this! This hurricane completely shifted direction and grew like a gremlin. When you gave it water, it grew like a gremlin. There are earthquakes. What happened? Why is there earthquakes? I don't even understand. Weather manipulation is earth modification. It's taking Earth's natural system of herself and manipulating her and making her behave a certain way, which again further detaches people from the earth, because one of the original wounds in some stories are that the earth had, say, like a great flood, and people were like, "Earth, we've been praising you. How could you do this to us?" And so then they stopped praising her and started to only look to like God not in form as opposed to God in form. And again, as opposed to both are true. Anyway, um, and so it can detach people from their feeling of safety to the earth, their feeling of connection to the earth, the feeling of like the great mother just hurt me, you know. So there are possibly ulterior motives to acquiring land. And what if we look at places like Ohio, where there was this massive train derailment? Y'all remember that? Nobody's talking about that anymore. The land is now toxic. That makes the land really cheap for some to buy. And then you can grow toxic food on toxic land. Does anybody talk about Hawaii? Was it Lahaina? Like that was out of nowhere, it was like little shots fired. And then we have here in the Appalachian Mountains, where the elevation is almost 2,500 feet, and it's like hundreds, like 400 or 600 miles inland from the coast. We get storms here. We get floods here. We don't get that happened 2 weeks ago, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, timelines, a week ago. Anyway, a week ago. So these are possibilities of an agenda that may be requiring people or requesting people to be more mm, enslaved to these entities with convoluted beliefs that we are being of service. Meanwhile, completely detaching ourselves from life itself, life in form, the earth, our bodies, the presence of our bodies, natural rhythms, sunlight, moonlight, like fresh air, bare feet on ground, animals, like life in big ways. And the more we detach from those things, the less empowered we truly are. Because if we're not connected to something bigger, we'll say life in form, birth, whatever, then we're not only not attached and connected to ourselves, but then we aren't as capable to be connected in community. Community is the bridge between me as one being and the earth as a massive. Community is the bridge. Like it's how we work together to live in symbiotic relationship with the divine mother, with Pachamama herself. So, with all of this possibility, which some people say, well, that's a conspiracy theory. I don't care what you call it. You can call it whatever you want. You can turn this off midway through. I give zero shits. This is for those that are willing to be open to a possibility. And then now what? Because that's what I want to get to is the did. Well, now what? So the it's just nuts. It's just nuts. So this motive to take the land, take the resources, completely detach us from community, from ourselves, from our bodies, from life, from the earth, pumping the money that we barely make to save up for the thing, the phones that have whatever cobalt in it, which, you look at other countries, there are countries in Africa, and I can't name them right now, that are mining cobalt, I believe, for the cell phones. Do you know how many people die daily? Do you know how many children are dying daily because of that? But yeah, here we are because our phone fills up with storage because the I world is like, oh, you need a new phone. It's messed up. It's messed up. So I'm not saying that there was an agenda to flush the people out of the land here, to begin to open up and expose parts of the land in very specific areas that are known to be rich in lithium. I am saying that anything is possible. And what I am saying also is that we are humans and we have hearts and we actually love life. Ask anyone who for a moment thinks that they may die. They're going to have that, I want to live. I'm not done yet. Like most people, unless you've really lived a full life and you're like, done, I'm good. So we have hearts. We want to live. We love life. When we have an opportunity to love life, oh, we love it even bigger. When we have opportunities and space to love, we love more. And what I'm noticing is with this complete devastation that is surrounding me right now, that there are so many people who, one, don't, all this that I've already said, they give zero shits about because they're living in a trauma in this now moment. And they've been living in a trauma. Some that still don't have power, still don't have water, some that don't even know if people know that they're missing. There are people that are missing that are probably dead, whose loved ones are looking for them. Last they were seen was holding on to a balcony on the apartment building as the entire apartment building got washed away. Like shit like that. And here's the thing, this is where I get really passionate. I held the passion back on the first part, but this is coming through big. Y'all, this is an active moment of trauma. People are experiencing trauma, not to mention everyone that's seeing it online and the images. These are inducing trauma responses. Not a bad thing. It activates a high heart for us to come together. Here's the thing, some people aren't resourced to have a heart activation when exposed to traumatic situations, and they go into like glitch out mode. So there are so many people that are not resourced for this right now. So then I see people that are like, almost like, talk about this other thing. That this is, let's have a blah 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 blah. And it's like, how can you even talk about that? It's like, with all the killing in the Middle East and Israel and Palestine and this and that, oh, and the Ukraine and all the money and it's like when we're in it, how it's like when if you've ever experienced death, nothing else matters. I don't care about the Grammys or the Emmys or the Oscars or whatever. I don't care because I am feeling something that is engulfing my entire life. And it's grief from the loss. There are so many humans right now that are experiencing it. And so here's what I am seeing is that what it reminds me of is war. It reminds me specifically of the Vietnam War. I wasn't there. My father was. And what my story is that when they came back, they weren't held as children experiencing extreme grief and trauma. They weren't. They were either shamed, ignored, told how wrong they were, called names, or made to go right back to work. Right? Just go back to work. Here, start your family. Here, do the thing. Just hop right back into society. Put your face on and just be like, I am a soldier or whatever. Like, messed up. I'm seeing the same for the people right now. It looks like a war zone. It looks like a war zone. And what if it is? What if this was an actual attack on our soil, for the soil? Well, shit, then who stands up for that? And then that feeling of helplessness dives down even deeper within. Because what if all this is true? What if all this that Jane just said about this propaganda and this agenda to actually take the lithium, to do this, and that people would do that, and people would do that to Ohio, and people would do that to Flint, Michigan, and people would do that to Hawaii, and people would do that, then how do we stand up to that? How do we stand up to that? Not just how do we heal from that? And how do we process the trauma of that? How do we navigate the portals and the waves and waves and waves of grief that happen and occur in that? Top it off with no support from the government. American citizens are getting what, 750 US dollars? For what? That might buy you a generator. Well, great, because now what? You got to find food, transportation, shelter. You got to be able to still pay your bills because guess what? You probably got some credit card debt. You got your phone bill, you got your this bill, you got your that bill. What if you got medical bills? What if you have medical like needs? And the government's telling you get $750. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, they're telling people from all over the world, come on in, come on in, come on in, and we're going to pay you handsomely. We're going to give you insurance. We're going to prop you up in these nice hotels. Not only that, yeah, you all come here and while we're giving you all this money, we're going to send billions, hundreds of billions of dollars to other countries. But no, you brothers and sisters here on this earth plane, you only get $750. That's barely enough for therapy for a month if you've been through a fucking trauma like this. And so then, my question, my inquiry of the hearts that are still listening is how do we take care of each other in these nows, these big nows? How do we do it? How do we hold people in love and kindness? How do we give support? How do we show up? Where do we show up? What if we don't have the money, funds, and transportation to be donating to all of these things? Like, what do we do? I don't know. I do. I don't. Do I don't. I do. I don't. What if? What if, like, if you're a veteran, please comment on this. How would you like to have been taken care of when you came back from war? Because here's the thing, the answer isn't in like, let's heavily medicate them, let's drug them. That's not the answer. It's not. That's not healing. That's band-aiding. You know, just being held, being seen, being honored as a human that's moving through a massive trauma in compassion. I feel compassion is the portal. Compassion is it's beyond empathy. Empaths are being wiped out right now because they don't have the resources to navigate this gift of empathy. It's compassion. It's it's a deep well of love for someone suffering. And oftentimes, if we don't have that compassion for ourselves to acknowledge the suffering that we have experienced or are experiencing, we don't have it to give anyone else. But that's what we all need. I feel we all need compassion right now. We've needed it for a lot of right nows. But this is coming loud because I'm on the land that's being affected. So the land is speaking through me. It's me. I mean, I'm speaking. I'm going to take accountability for my words and my actions. And it's it is time for us to. It is time for us to come together with a unified heart. I see it happening. I see it happening so big right now, like boots on the ground style. Like people are being amazing. They're delivering like supplies and saving people because FEMA's not doing it, although they say they are. They're not. They're stopping, they're thwarting the endeavors to reach people. That's messed up. People have been threatened with arrest if they cross this line. And they're like, but I got a four-wheeler. I can get up there and get those people right there. And FEMA says, no, if you go, you're arrested. What? And that to me points back to the finger at the top of this. That's like there is an agenda for the land. Let the people die so we can get the land. And we've seen this over and over again. When we look at what's happening in Palestine and all that stuff, we can call it this and that and the other. Here is one truth. There is a desire for the US and some other country, whatever, to take the canal and make another one. It's a land grab. It's a land grab to make more profit off of commerce path, like a pathway of commerce. It's nuts. It's completely insane, I tell you. But this desire to grab the land has happened over and over and over again. We look at the indigenous peoples on any land anywhere, this plane of existence. And that's what's happened to them. Your ancestors. I don't care who you are, what color your skin is, how much melanin you make, or what your beliefs are, your religious backgrounds. I give zero shits. Your ancestors had their land taken. They had their beliefs, their culture, their ancient knowledge, their connection to something bigger and deeper, their rituals, their ceremonies, their deep aligned prayers. They had it taken from them. And they had it taken from them in the name of control and greed to get the land, to sell the resources to someone else. That's all it is. And we've chosen to live on this planet that this is the game that we're playing. What if this game is to transcend this paradigm, these rules of engagement, and say, fuck that. We're here to make new rules. We are the rule breakers and the game and story creators. It's us, it's you, it's reclaiming stewardship to the body. The body of what? Our body, the body of the earth. In some Christianity, it's the body of Christ that was so important. The messages of he and Mary Magdalene were like, we are the holy in form. It's not just the me, it's all of us. We are the form of source. We are the bridge between heaven and earth. And then they had a bunch of tricks and tips and things that you can do with that knowledge that I love. But the message was the body, the form. The body is the messenger. Our bodies tell us all we need. The earth tells us everything we need. She has everything we need. We have everything in us. We are the universe. We are everything all at once. And we've been so programmed and so indoctrinated and so traumatized and so conditioned over and over and over again that we have forgotten the key of life is us. It's the body of life itself. It's the body of light. And until we start to remember that, we are weak. And as we remember it, we reclaim it, we become empowered, we connect, we unite, we rise together. We not only help each other, but we start to really stand and unite and say no. When I was in France recently, I was walking near the port and I see, like some streets are blocked and there's some police that are just standing there. They're watching what's happening because there was a parade. Was it a parade? No, it was a protest. And they're protesting something I couldn't understand because they speak French. I don't. And I was sitting there and I was like, I don't really see that very often here in the Americas, not in the United States of America. People don't really protest. People don't really stand for what they believe because people don't even know what they fucking believe because they're so tuned into the messages of the media that they don't know what they would actually stand for. They don't know how to stand for their heart. They know how to say, I don't really know what I stand for, but I can tell you what I don't stand for. And so Trump sucks, or Kamala sucks, or this place sucks, or you should vote for that. Da, 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 da. But they don't know what they're standing for. So then it just looks like a stupid child on a playground having a fit, not able to say what it is they need. And when I say stupid, I mean ignorant, meaning not knowing, not aware, not matured in that way. And that's all we are, a bunch of kids in adult bodies. So I feel it's time for us to step up, step in, dive in, reclaim our bodies in such a way that we can be inspired to stand for what is true. What is true? What is truth? Well, I mean, you gotta dig yourself and discover that for yourself. But I'll tell you my truth. My truth is life and love. That's my devotion to serve. That's why I'm here. I'm serving life and love. It's my devotion every day, every day, every day. And if something in my life, something on my path does not align with my devotion, my truth, then it is not for me. I don't feed it. Sometimes I do, and then I'm like, oh God, that's such a waste of energy. Like, okay, I did it. Uh, but like to stand in our truth, learn about yourself, dive into your devotion, whatever your devotion is. And I feel like some people are devoted to being an asshole. Some people are devoted to being right. Some people are devoted to making $1 billion at the expense of life. That's not quite the devotion I'm talking about. That's like hyperfixation to do harm. So like devotion, when I say devotion, it's like it's in service to something greater. Like possibly even to like the unseen. The my devotion to life and love, I can't really see those things. Those are unseen things. And yet I see it everywhere I turn because it's my focus. Anyway, but y'all, the courageous actions that I am seeing that we need now more than ever is some big open hearts and some big open arms to just like love the heck out of ourselves and each other in a way that we have never done before. Never. Like next level love. It's time for us to treat PTSD as it's happening. I don't know if we have a template for that. I really don't. I have no idea. The only thing I know of is compassion. That's the only thing I know of to help in an active trauma. I've been in enough real time traumas that that's all I could offer. I can't fix it. Can't fix what is currently in the now happening. We're all alive. Okay. Some aren't. Okay, like let's just breathe together. So compassion is key right now. Taking care of our brothers and sisters who have been traumatized in the name of the entities that are greedy motherfuckers. It's time to reconnect with the land to really hear her. Because I feel that those that are connected to the land can actually hear what's happening. I hear real clearly what's happening on the land right now. And it's not just, oh my God, we just had a big storm. The wind speaks to me. The trees speak to me. The fires speak to me. Like they speak, I hear real clearly what the truth is. And I'm not saying that wasn't real water and it wasn't real wind, but I can say that there was a distortion in the field of creation of it. That's what I can say, hands down. So it's time for compassion. It's time for action. It's time for connection with community. It's time to connect back with this earth in big ways, y'all. And I feel like there was one more. It's it's time. It's time. It's time. It keeps coming through. It's time. It's time. It's time. I know we're in the eternal now, but it's an imperative now to take action. And the action is an action of the heart. It's only the action of the heart, in my opinion. So I believe that is it for now. Um, if if you have any reflections, feedback, a perspective on any of this, please leave it in the comments. I'm curious. I'm so curious. Um, I guess one of the other things would be as we live from our heart, we're going to make different choices. We make different choices on what we spend our money on. We then necessarily don't spend our money on things that are poisonous and toxic to life, ourselves, or the earth. So, be aware that um, every choice you make is feeding everything, every energy you spend out, your money, your words, your creation is feeding something else. Like something else is feeding on you. So do you want to feed your community? Do you want to feed love? Do you want to feed the earth so that she is inspired to regenerate more healthy goodness? Like how do you want to how do you want to feed whomever? And I feel like that's a wee bit of a loaded question because so many parents feed their children neurotoxins and carcinogens. I mean, really, like for real, it's nuts. Like, look in your own kitchen cabinets and see what you're feeding yourself. If it doesn't say organic, then you're eating glyphosate, you're eating Roundup. I mean, really, if it says bioengineered, your food grew in a lab. That's designed to make you sick, designed to keep you connected to big pharma, which is also this entity that is taking the resources from the land that we are inadvertently working for anyway. This entity is big pharma. It is the industrialized military complex. It is the prison slash school system. It is the church, not religions. It is the church with a capital C. It is that. We could also put some other 3-letter agencies in there. We could also put a lot of Hollywood in there. It's the same entity that wears many faces of our shadows. So just be aware. And, please look into if you're called to support, if you have a lot of funds, you know, please don't forget your brothers and sisters here. I know people are donating to this, that, and the other, and, you know, look into your own communities. You likely have some brothers and sisters that are on the streets that don't have shelter or food or water right now. They're living in a war zone that we call the United States of America. We just have so many band-aids on it and distractions that we're not really fully seeing it together. And it's too close to home for some, and the cognitive dissonance keeps them from their heart in action. So just wanted to shine a light on some things. And in this space of your open mind and hopefully open heart, my invitation is to love yourself and each other as much as possible. Love the earth and all that she gives us. And remember that without her, we don't exist. And without source of love, we don't love her. That's the cycle, that's the dance. It's not one or the other. It's both. It's the mother and the father. It's when they unite through our hearts that we live this like peace on earth, heaven on earth. So um I love you all. I love you all and I appreciate you watching this. Um if you are called to join the Eternal Now community, you can join as little as $10 a month, and your contribution helps quite a bit for for my purpose of spreading the word and doing the work that I do. And on there in the community, I have a lot of resources, guided meditations, videos, classes, energy management tools. I've got my own personal navigating of life stories on there. Um, and the community is growing, and I keep offering more and more on there. So I'd love for you to be a part of it. So you can look on Patreon. Um, I think it's Jane Ritz, Eternal Now, Conscious Community. So take care of yourselves and each other. And I'm sending so much compassionate love to everyone, wherever you are, whatever choices you've made. Hey, today is a new day. Now is a new now. Every time you watch this, it's a new now anyway. So whatever choices you make, you can make a new choice. You can feel a new depth. You can explore a new more. You can be still again. You can make a new choice. Look, you got a new now. Okay. So we got forever. We're eternal. But I just feel it's time. Come on. Let's get together. Let's create a mutiny of love in love. Oh, that would be so good. Ugh. Okay, I'm sending love. Take care of yourselves and each other. And I will see you on another. Now I gotta find the button. Okay, bye.